Alrighty, we are back. I am back, and we are back in Twin Peaks again. And I just realized that we have a long way to go before we get to the return. Even doing 3 episodes in a row like this, yeah, we got a while and some treacherous stuff to wade through in season 2 here. But at least the first 7 or 8 episodes or so are excellent before it goes into not so excellent category. What's up, Ginger? How you doing, man? Good to see you. Good to be back. Dude, it's still fucking killing me. Like my tooth's not bothering me much. It's still fucking bothering me, but it's been much better. Still though, it's like, man, I don't remember the last time I pulled something and it lasted this long. But that's a thing of yesterday. Now we are back in the universe of David Lynch. Hey, Paula. How you doing? We are up to episode 2 in season 2. Because last time we did this, I got all confused and different sources were saying there was 7 or 8 episodes in season 1. And then the last episode we ended on ended up being 90 fucking minutes. So it went on a while. So we're up to episode 2, which is called or titled Coma. Working as usual, 6.5 days a week. Yeah, I know. I hear about your fun endeavors. Sucks, man. I know it's like busy time right now. Not bad, Paula. Can't complain. Hey, what's up, K1? Yeah, I think that he's too that really probably so popular a format. That's what I like to say it was. Oh, like season 2? Okay, yeah. Basically. I mean, things got really not really off track. I mean, in retrospect, because I do love this whole series. So even later on in season 2, Wyndham Earl and all that shit, that's not that great, really. It's still entertaining enough, and you're still in the same world, and you have the same characters. Some of them go insanely off the deep end, like Nadine becoming a superhero and getting superpowers, and she's lifting shit over. All of that's insanely stupid. But I mean, they killed the golden goose that laid the golden eggs, as David Lynch used to say about Laura and the mystery of Laura specifically, who killed her, which we find out in episode 7, I think, of this season. So I'm going to get this going. Anyone wants to watch along, I forgot to look up the Look Movie link, but it's on Look Movie. It's on Amazon Prime. If you're a hardcore fan, you own it, like I do here, through Amazon Prime. I have to get a Twin Peaks on physical, but I'm going to do a 3, 2, 1, go. And then if anyone wants a timestamp, if they want to play along. Yeah, we're doing a gaming stream. If you want to watch along, then ask. I'll give a little timestamp. So 3, 2, 1, Twin Peaks. But yeah, Ginger, the stuff with Hell House. I mean, Hell House is getting a lot of shit. I felt so bad when I saw after like release day, because I saw my review of it start to go much higher from like 70 views to like over 200. And I said, what the hell? Oh yeah, that's right. It released. And then I looked at some other reviews and I'm like, damn, people really are not liking this movie. I saw it being divisive, but not like the way they're talking about it. Hey, what's up, Anthony? I still got to see that. Everyone keeps raving about Weapons. Almost everybody. I've talked to 1 or 2 people who didn't care for it, but that seems to be the exception. That's one I still got to see Together. I've had that sitting on my hard drive for since the day it released. I just never got around to it. I got to watch that. I've been saying it for like random nights when I was upstate this last week. Maybe I'll throw it Together on, and then I just didn't do it. I don't know much about the lawsuit with that movie. except for that it's claimed that allegedly they copied a movie that was sent into them, like a script. But I looked into it a little more, and it doesn't seem like it's really anything. But it kind of left that taste in my mouth that I really didn't care to rush to the movie, because you can't find the movie that are suing them for ripping it off. You can't find that film anywhere. So I don't know if it even got released or anything, because you can't find it streaming. It's not like released on physical media. It's not released anywhere. We got Albert starting this episode with Cooper. I love Albert. I want to rock though that outfit the people in the background are wearing. Got like this pinstripe, like pink, white, and black pinstripe with these like not sombreros, but like straw fedoras almost. That's cool. Um, Hold on, I skipped over Anthony. Just graduated from training and going to a pizza party tomorrow. Cool. Next movie's Toxic Avenger, which I know, yeah, Ginger's excited about. I've never been a fan of the original Toxic Avenger. I mean, Ginger, you know that. I think I told you that because you like some of those trauma films. I've never been a big trauma film fan. There's like three I can name off the top of my head. Graduation Day is technically it was released from Trauma, so that's not even a great movie. It's all right. And Toxic Avenger's all right. I've never fell in love with it. It's the thing. Like I know how much of a classic it is, so I'm gonna check this new one out for sure. Maybe I'll rewatch the original because it's been forever. Maybe I'll gain a new appreciation for it. Nice, man. Yeah, that's right. Your birthday's soon. My birthday's in September. There's a lot of us who have birthdays in September. A lot of our community. September birthdays. Hey, Sonny, what's going on, man? Mr. Bruce, Mr. Russell. You got like four identities at this point, Russ. Like, I don't know. You got like four different names that you go by. Good to see you as always. I was just gonna ask actually what year you're up to. 2016. Barely a decade to go. Thank you, buddy. Everyone saying hey, nice. So we left off last time with the season 2 premiere, the long premiere with Cooper getting a visit from the giant or the fireman and taking his ring and giving him 3 clues. And when he finds them to be true, then he'll get his ring back. So then we start to see some of these clues unravel in these next few episodes as Cooper puts it all together. Yeah, I really want that suit those guys are wearing in the back. That ridiculous over the top one. Mother's Day. That was another one that I fucking lost track of whatever I was talking about at that point and went on to another thing. Yeah, that one. That's another top trauma film for me. Yes, happy early birthday, Aunt. Yeah, I never disliked the original. I'm assuming you're talking about Toxic Avenger. I never disliked it. It was just a movie that I watched maybe twice, once growing up, and then once maybe 10 years ago, or maybe a little less. I think I remember watching it several years back, though. I don't remember it much, except for like some infamous scenes from it and his iconic look. So hopefully the remake is fun. I forget who's behind it. Who's doing the remake? Is it Trauma? Are you putting it out again? I'm sure they own the rights. Yeah, that's an underrated one. That's like the supernatural slasher, right? I haven't seen that in forever. This is a super awesome scene here and very important. I always emphasize how important the Tremonts and Chalfonts are in this show, like to its mystery and trying to figure it all out and put this universe, the pieces of it together. The old woman here that Donna goes to visit, and she has the grandson, which is David Lynch's son. In Fire Walk with Me in the movie, we also see them. And in the movie, it's not played by his son, it's played by some other actor who looks like David Lynch. Or is it the other way around? No, that's his son in the show here. Yeah, it's not his son in Fire Walk with Me. But they're called the Tremonts. But they're also called the Chalfonts on numerous occasions. And then at the end of the series, in the last episode of The Return, we see another Tremont living at the Palmer house, and the person before that was the Chalfont too. So that whole little mystery of who they are exactly is one of the most fascinating things about this show to me. Who the fuck is this old woman and her grandkid? Like, how do they factor into all of the lodge stuff? Are they like gatekeepers? It's a theory I threw out in my Fire Walk with Me deep dive. Maybe they're like gatekeepers to the lodge, because you have that scene in Fire Walk with Me when Laura is dreaming, but she goes through the painting that they give her, and she's like beckoning Laura to come forward, and the kid tries like helping her and hints that Bob is, is close, that he found the diary. So they try helping in a way. I don't know what their motives are or who they are, what exactly they are. I've heard theories that maybe the old woman is Judy, which I don't think that's that at all. But it's always fascinated me. Two Chalfonts and the Tremonts. And who the hell they are. What's up, Scott? You just ate a chicken and pizza? That's a shit ton of food, man. Glad you're doing well. Butter spaghetti and water for dinner. Nice. I'm watching X-Men 97. Man, I haven't seen that in forever. Any of those X-Men films. It's been years. I always say I'm not a big superhero guy. Yeah, I don't think I ever saw that movie. And I think Ginch has given me shit for it. Like, or I saw it and I don't remember it at all. It's one of those two. I never got into that one either. And that's another popular trauma film. Never got into that one. And there's a few of those, right? Because I know Ginger did a few of those movies back to back. That's another one I'd have to return to or just give a actual watch if I never really watched it. I feel like I did and I just completely forgot about it. Zombie High in the co-ed and the Zombie Steiner. Oh, Zombie Stoner. That makes more sense. I was trying to figure out that last word. Interesting title. Because she comes to this house, Donna, that's where I was going with that, and gives the Tremont woman the food, because she takes over Laura's route on the Meals on Wheels program. And she brings her meal over to her, and it has creamed corn, which is a symbol of, pain and suffering, garmonbosia, that the lodge entities consume. And she doesn't want any of it. She seems like shocked that it's there and says, I asked for no creamed corn. And then the grandson does his little magic trick, and it ends up disappearing with the plate ending up in his hands. So it still makes me wonder even more. What the hell are they? Like, what do they want? What do they do? What role do they play? Because we understand Bob and the arm and Mike and the fireman. We get a lot more of them throughout the series. So we have a grasp on them for the most part and what they're all about and their place in the lodge world, if you will. That woman and her grandson, man, they will always confuse me and pique my curiosity at the same time. Is Audrey back from I forgot. It's been a few weeks since we did the last few episodes. Did they get Audrey back? Think so. Maybe they did. I don't remember. You watched Don't Kill It with Dolph Lundgren? Dolph Lundgren. Every time I think of him now, I think of ever since the episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia aired. When wasn't it one of the Lethal Weapon sequels? Those episodes, and they want. Oh no, it's when they're pitching an idea for a movie, right, to Dennis or something, and they want Dolph Lundgren to play a dog with a head as a nose or something, and he sniffs crime, something like that. But they mentioned Dolph Lundgren being who they want for the role. Ever since that episode, that's all I think of when somebody mentions his name. Having said that, I never saw that. Don't Kill It. I gotta check it out. The gore is good. Rabid grannies. See, I mean, that's the thing. It's hard for me to throw a movie on with titles like that, especially if they are like, I don't want to say lesser productions, but like lower production films or independent movies or asylum films or any of those. I say that all the time with asylum movies. It's just not for me. Some people love that cheesy, terrible fucking type of horror film. Some people really like that. That's just not me. And I feel like titles like that instantly make me feel like that's the type of movie it's going to be. Like Rabid Grannies. Soon as I see that title, I think, all right, this is going to be ridiculous. And that's why I have not seen Rabid Grannies in my life yet to this day. Hey, Emily. How you doing? You liked Weapons? Yeah, I still got to see it. But I keep hearing people rave about it. Like pretty highly, too. Like sometimes mentioning it as their favorite or in their favorites of the year so far. Which I don't even know what to look forward to anymore because I don't really watch trailers, so I don't know what's coming up. I don't know what we're due for the rest of this year. I know we have a Silent Night, Deadly Night remake again. I mean, Silent Night from 2012 is, I think, all you need. It's a perfect, better version of that original story, even though it's unrelated story-wise, but you know what I'm talking about. But we're getting another remake, which to me scares me because it sounds like Black Christmas, and then Black Christmas 06, and then Black Christmas 2019, which is so bad. I'm not even going to give more time to that movie, ever. I'm a silent fan. Yeah, there's the occasional fun ones, but that's like so occasional that's so occasional that I have not covered one yet on the channel. That's how occasional they are for me to watch. But there are a few I've seen over my lifetime that I did have a fun time watching. None that really come to mind, like top of my head. Oh, that dickhead. Oh, that's not good. And the fact that they even have any link to Halloween Ends, which means people are involved probably in some way from from Halloween Ends and that whole trilogy for this new Silent Night. That doesn't sound good to me either. I knew what it was going to be about as soon as it started. I was having a little but I had a little knowledge on what it ends up being about. The creepiness about it is what's good, and the jump scares. Yeah, that's on my like top tier list of things to watch soon. Same with I was saying a little bit earlier with to get together. I've had that film ready to watch forever now. Just haven't got around to it. Oh, Andy, you're such an adorable dork. And Major Briggs, anytime there's a scene with Major Briggs, I instantly just like get drawn into him. He's such a great character. You haven't seen Together either yet? Yeah, I've had it downloaded since like it came out. I just haven't gotten around to it. I keep saying like every few nights, "Oh, I'll throw that movie on," and that don't happen. I'll watch it sometime soon. Oh, this is when the log lady comes up to him, says like, "My log has a message for you. Deliver the message," or something like that. It sucks so much that David Lynch is gone. But like if we were to get a season 4 and like he was still alive, he didn't pass away, and we did get a season 4, I don't even really know what they do with it. I feel like they kind of ended it. He ended it as well as he could have. I was pretty much happy with the end of The Return. Especially since The Return, there's been so many actors and actresses that have passed away since then. I mean, Miguel Ferrer, Albert, he's gone. Log Lady died right before the release came out, but she was in it. She was dying then. And a lot more actors. Robert Forster, so he wouldn't be in it. So it's kind of bittersweet, but we kind of all knew we were never getting any more Twin Peaks after The Return. There were too many people dropping like that. I mean, they could have turned them all into teacups, like they do with Philip Jeffries. But yeah, right. I love Briggs. I mean, he's so integral to the whole story and the lore, and he's just such a captivating, charismatic personality. And he always has that air of mystery to him too, because of what he does, or what he's allowed to say he does. Lucy. I never really saw her again in anything besides Twin Peaks. I mean, was she in anything else really? The actress who plays Lucy? Because she always has that very familiar sounding voice, like that weird voice to her, and the way she talks. So it feels like you've seen her in other things, but I don't remember seeing her in anything else. Wait, why? What happened? What happened with Bruce Willis? Nothing new, right? Or just you're saying in general with what's been happening with him, like the last few years with his health? Because yeah, absolutely. I love that man so much. I love Bruce Willis. And it is so sad with his health declining. For a second, when I read that, I thought he passed away or some shit. And I was going to say, there's no fucking way I didn't hear about that all day. But oh, that's going to be a rough one. Oh, that's a great scene when he says he had a vision that he saw his son, and his son was standing there, and everything was all right and stuff. And he says, "Thank you, Dad." That's a great fucking scene. Love that. It definitely is a very moving conversation for sure. Oh, I Saw the Devil was great. That's a great movie. I didn't see that film until I don't know, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. Instantly loved it. That scene in the car when it's the three guys in the car and he starts just stabbing the shit out of one of them and then killing the other one. And it does that 360-degree camera turn. That's fucking awesome. I love that whole movie. I forgot the director, but I know he did some other film that I've seen as well, which is also very good. What's up, Albert? Lynch didn't look happy in some of the behind the scenes footage of Twin Peaks: The Return. Oh yeah, for sure. He was he was pretty pissed actually a lot of the times. I've seen a lot of those clips, especially with him being told to cut the scenes down in the time like slots. Like, oh, the scene has to be a little shorter. He would get furious. And I don't blame him. I mean, it's his vision, but you got to see both sides of it too. I mean, they were putting in money, the production companies, the studios. They want their money, and they want a sure thing, because they were originally going to do only 9 episodes of The Return instead of 18, and Lynch said no. And then they finally granted him the 18 episodes, and then it became a thing. He was famous for not don't fuck with my art. That's like one of Lynch's entire things. Don't ask him about his art and what it means, and don't mess around with it in any way. Tarantino is the same way. A lot of artists are, but like famous for that, Tarantino is another one. You don't fuck with his scripts or anything like that, or he gets furious. Yeah, the dementia thing. I just didn't know if something new happened. So thankfully, it didn't. Who gives a fucking shit how long a scene is? That's what he says in one of the videos, the behind the scene things. And then as soon as the person says to him they want to cut it down, he gives a look. They're like, no, 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 no. Before he starts going off. That's so funny. Like they knew as soon as they said and delivered the message that they were going to get killed as the messenger. And they're like, no, 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 no. And he goes off on that rant. That's great. Yeah, they should have. Pretty much. That's definitely why they came back around on the how many episodes. When he said no to 9 episodes, cutting it down from 18, that's cutting out half the story. And he said no. Of course, they're going to come back and say, all right, fine, we'll do the 18. They were playing hardball with him because they know who he is. Yeah, basically. Which again sucks. I feel so bad for him and everyone who worked with on the movie. It's not that bad. Anyone watching who's a Hell House LLC fan, that a fan of that series, particularly, not just the first movie, the series. If you haven't seen Lineage, the new one, don't listen to all the insanely negative shit that's coming out online about it. It's not that bad. It really isn't. And I swear to you, I'm not just saying that because I had Stephen Cognetti on for an interview and talked with him and shit. I don't pander like that. I've told people I've had on right to them, I don't like that movie you did. So it has nothing to do with that. It's not that bad of a film. I think people just got kind of sidetracked and taken for surprise that it's not found footage, even though that was well known for a long, long while beforehand, that it was going to be like a traditional film, different format. That was like widely known knowledge for a decent amount of time. So I think people just got taken back by that. People that did know, they just didn't like it being in a different format from found footage. And it's not a great movie. Like, it's not, but it's better than 3. 3 is the absolute low point of the Hell House series. But all the the shit that movie's getting, it does not deserve all that hate. No way at all. But I've been wanting to see, and I saw Lineage like a month ago. Right after that, maybe a week or so after that, I finally got around to seeing his other film, the 825 Forest Road, which I forgot came out earlier this year because I've been always saying I want to see Cognetti do something other than Hell House. And we got 825 Forest Road, completely forgot it came out, but I saw Lineage and I really liked it not being in the found footage format. I thought it was refreshing. And for the budget, I mean, I thought it was very well done in a regular film format. Is it great? No. Is it terrible? No, not at all. I love Jerry Horne. Every character in this show is fucking fantastic. If anybody wants a timestamp at any point and wants to watch along, let me know. I will drop it. That's right. Leo's in a coma after getting shot. And then he's just a fucking vegetable for like the rest of this. Yeah, I mean that too. That definitely adds to it. But he was always like that. It's just part of who he was. And that's one thing that always drew me to him. Because I'm the same way. Like with any type of art, music and stuff. I liked a lot of instrumental like jam bands and stuff that goes on for 10, 20 minutes, improv stuff. Things like that always I gravitated to. I never liked like the conventional norms. So when he says, yeah, like who gives a shit how long a scene is, he's focusing on trying to get dreamy and get out there. I know exactly what he means. And it sucks to have anybody have to tell you, no, do it differently, cut it down, or take this out or change it in any way if you're really seeing it in your head the way that you see it. And you know the way that it's supposed to be and how long that you want it to be, how long to linger on that shot, how long to stay on this person's reaction, all of those things. The only person who sees it is the director, is the creator in their head. So to have anybody say, nah, like we're changing this and that. And like some people just cannot handle that. And I absolutely understand that. Timestamp is season 2, episode 2, and we are right about at the half-hour mark. 29 minutes and 23 seconds. Lucy is on the phone. Yes, I saw your comment before I put it up here. 825. Yeah, it was good. It was not great, but much better than Lineage, I think. But it also has the same actress who plays Vanessa in Lineage and Hell House 3. She's in it as well. It's another supernatural, horror film, but not found footage. Best Amity, yeah, absolutely. The Possession, it is the best, and I'm saying that 100% confidently, with only having seen the first 3 Amityville movies. I don't have to see any more than that to know that Amityville 2 is the best. Now there's like 27 of those movies, right? There's so many. They went to space. They had a dollhouse. You name it, Amityville's gone there. I've always loved 2. That transformation scene is so good. I mean, it's typical 82 bladder effects and blubber effects and stuff like that. But when he finally turns more demonic and he sheds his skin and everything, What a great transformation. 81 to 83, 84 was such a great year for, I mean, practical effects in general, but particularly transformations. American Werewolf in London, The Howling, with Rob Bottin's great work, and The Thing, of course, in 82. The Beast Within was in 82. The aforementioned Amityville, The Possession, Amityville 2, all in 82, 81. So many good transformation sequences. There's a Stranger Things spin-off that is supposed to feel like Twin Peaks. Interesting. I figured they'd do some type of spin-off with that show because there's no way they're letting that thing fucking go. Not this early. It's only been 5 seasons. Nah. Those actors and actresses and stuff, they probably signed a clause like signing their life away for the next 20 years. Anytime we got an idea, you got to come make an appearance in some way. Netflix ain't letting that go. It's the only show they have that they don't cancel after the 3rd season. The only one I can think of. And I'm not a huge fan of Stranger Things. I mean, I do like it. I liked the first season a lot. I liked the second season a decent amount. The third one I thought was a decent drop. The fourth one, I don't remember much of it because I really didn't care for that season. So I'm not too invested or care much or looking forward to like the last season or a spinoff, but who knows? Maybe it'll be good. And if it feels like Twin Peaks and they actually pull off a similar feel, why not? Yeah, I've noticed that more recently, but then also like the writers' strike played a role in that a few years ago when we had that year of the strike going on and like everything got half the episodes. But I have noticed that with more shows recently have been doing less episodes, which usually, yeah, is 20, 22, 24. Now they're doing 10, 12 maybe. It depends on the show. I mean, like sitcoms are still doing the usual 20 something, like Ghosts on CBS, which is such a great show, man. I fucking love that show. That's the best comedy I've seen in years. And it's the best show that I've seen on CBS or a basic cable station. I don't even know how long. But I do. It depends on what they're doing, on what the show is. Some shows benefit from having a lot of episodes in each season, and some are better with just like real. If it's really well written and it's all they need is 10 episodes or so, go for it. Who was Connie's here? Hey, Connie, how you doing, honey? Happy Sunday end, weekend end in 20 minutes. Yeah, Where is a great one. That one doesn't get talked about often. And I always say I'm not a big werewolf genre guy, but the original Wolfman, and I haven't seen that in forever, but classic movie. And then American Werewolf in London is one of my favorites. Same with The Howling. Ginger Snaps is a favorite of mine too. The sequel too. I like Ginger Snaps 2 Unleashed, I think is the tagline. 3, the one when they go back in time and they're their ancestors and all that shit. That one's awful. Awful. But yeah, Where is great. Dog Soldiers. Right? Isn't that the one I always confuse that with another movie? No, that's the werewolf one. Bad Moon. That's another good werewolf one that never gets talked about. They have an Amityville Karen. Wait, why does that sound familiar? Like someone told me that. I feel like I heard that. But no, fuck that. Fuck that movie. Never gonna watch that. It's not that interesting. Maybe it's because I've lived 15, not even 10 10 to 15, depending on traffic, but it doesn't matter. 10 minutes or so from the Amityville house most of my life. And I've been there a few times, not in the house, but on the block or right in front of it. I did a video like early on in the channel of me taking a drive over there and walking quick and taking a sneaky stealth video because I don't know if somebody lives there right now, like the last several years, or if it's been vacant. I think someone does live there, but maybe because, it's right there. I've been there. I've seen it. It just doesn't hold the same appeal to me, the Amityville story. Plus the fact that it was all bullshit and it's been debunked to hell. The actual, the true story, quote unquote, by the, involving the brilliant Warrens and their many talents of conning people. Yeah, the Beast Within has an amazing transformation. That's one of my favorite transformation scenes ever. So good. Speaking of that, I got to finally have Felipe Mora. We've been going back and forth for a month or so because his connection fucked up those 2 times we tried, and then I missed a time with him and stuff. So I said I'd message him when I got back from upstate, which was last night. So I got to send him a message. What day this week? Tomorrow's Monday. Perfect. So I'll send him an email or a message in the morning on Facebook because he directed The Beast Within, and I've had Paul Clement on, who plays the main character from The Beast Within. Twice I've had Paul on. Paul's a great dude. But that's a favorite 80s monster movie creature feature of mine in general. She really was, right? I mean, she still looks all right now. I follow her on Instagram. She's still looking all right. But back then, yeah, she was woo. Interesting how it says Cooper 3 times here with Briggs, and I love this whole scene with Briggs coming into Cooper's room and reading, and he divulges some of what he does, which we don't know much of what he does, except he works for the government in some way, and he says here that they monitor satellites that look for like deep space, like signals and stuff like that, broadcast frequencies, to see if anything's out there. Then they get the message that says the owls are not as they seem, just like the giant tells Cooper. Then it says Cooper 3 times in a row, which is interesting because in the return we have, I always say there are 2 Coopers, even though technically there's kind of 3, because you have Dougie, even though Dougie is kind of Dougie until Cooper leaves the lodge and replaces Dougie. If you don't know the show, then you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about right now. But technically, I think there's 2 Coopers at all times. One's in the lodge, one's the real one, and one's bad Cooper. Dougie's a separate thing. But curious and interesting how they did put Cooper 3 times back then in season 2 in that little broadcast of information that Briggs shows him. Oh, we get the song with Donna and James and Maddie, the terrible but so charming tune that they sing with his insanely high-pitched voice that you would not expect to be coming out of him. I gotta watch an episode or 2 of that because I love Kathy Bates, and I always have, in basically anything that she's done that I've seen, which is a lot. And I know that she started doing that a few years ago, right? That new Matlock. And I was so surprised to hear that announcement that Kathy Bates is going to play Matlock and they're switching around and everything. I said, cool, though. I could see her pulling that off. Never watched an episode. Never really heard anything about it or anything. Is it good? Well, you said you love it, so I'm guessing it's good. I got to check that out. She is actually the only Funko that I own is Sherilyn Fenn as Audrey Horne from Twin Peaks. Never got into that whole Funko shit. That's the only one that I have is Audrey Horne for obvious reasons. I mean, she's not as sexy as a Funko, but still hotter than some things out there. Devolution Rules. Dog Soldier. Yeah, that was the one I was thinking of with all of them, the werewolves. That's a good movie. I haven't seen that in forever, too. I saw one of those Amityville knockoffs that had Eric Roberts in it. Oh, how the mighty. Man, he did one of those? That's funny. Which one? Because I only know a handful of their names, like the Amityville series, because I've never seen past 3. I know the first 3, obviously. Then I know there's Amityville, It's About Time, right? And then there's an Amityville Dollhouse. There's an Amityville in Space, but that's not the title, whatever the title is. And then there's a few other ones. The Awakening or the New Generation and the Next Generation. Something like that. Like Texas Chainsaw, the Next Generation-esque. What's everyone's thoughts on Wyndham Earl? If Bob is the evil that men do, what or who is Wyndham? I was just saying earlier, like before you came in, like briefly, when I was saying how season 2 is so all over the place, as we famously know, because Lynch left and they killed the golden goose with the Laura mystery. So it does drop in quality, yeah. And I mentioned very briefly about Wyndham Earl and stuff. I don't mind it. It's entertaining, but it's nothing like great. There's so much stuff from, say, episode right after the killer of Laura is revealed and everything that involves. Once that is revealed in the 7th or 8th episode, I get so blurry on details of what happens, when, and all of that for the rest of season 2 until the finale. The finale I know extremely well because Lynch came back and rewrote it heavily and directed it and all that. But the Wyndham Earl stuff, I mean, I think he's just a crazy ex-partner and, friend of Dale's. Like everything that they say about him and his backstory, that just got obsessed with the lodge, corrupted in some way, which many characters do in the show. And he thinks that because he discovered this knowledge, that he's the shit, basically. And we see that in the finale when he's in the lodge. And he tries, what does he do? That Bob says you're not allowed to do that, basically, and he reverses time. Then he sucks the soul out of Wyndham Earl or whatever he does to him. Right there, you see that like Wyndham Earl kind of feels like the most powerful thing ever. Like he knows what he's dealing with, and yet he really doesn't have any clue what he's dealing with and what he stumbled on and the knowledge he knows. He thinks he does, and all that power and the dream of that power gets to his mind and corrupts him. That's basically how I always looked at his character. And obviously to be a reminder of Cooper's past with everything that happened with them, with Caroline and stuff. It's Caroline, right? That's what I mean. See, with season 2. Yeah, it's Caroline, right? Cooper's ex that died because of Earl. Or it was Earl's girl, right? And Cooper had a thing with her or something like that. Amityville Death House. It's bad, like really bad. The one with Eric Roberts? I'm sure it is. I don't even remember 3. Amityville 3D. And I don't remember the last time I saw it. I know I threw it on in the last year or so, like as background noise, like to have something in the background, which I do often, which is why I can never remember sometimes if I've seen a movie or like remember things from a movie if it's something I haven't seen in years, because chances are I threw it on in the background while doing something else. And I know I did that recently with that movie. Still don't know what thing that happens in it. But after that was the new generation or the next generation or something like that in the early 90s. After that, I have no idea where that franchise goes. And nor do I care to ever find out. Especially since, yeah, I see where you're going with it. Like the thought road you're going down, for sure. I don't know if he had any like extra abilities, for lack of a better term, like for him to be able to get into the lodge. I don't know if that does give him some type of status that he is special in some way, like, or if he is just a mortal person and a regular human being who stumbled onto this mystery and thought that he can control the power and it corrupted him. That's basically what I feel with him, especially because we don't see the same thing happen with Philip Jeffries, but we see sort of the same thing happen with him. It's just not power and the knowledge of everything that corrupts him and, reduces him to what he is in the return. But it is just being exposed to it and the knowledge of it and, going through the lodge or to a different time. Whatever happens to Jeffries in that we see in Fire Walk with Me, when he appears and disappears back to Buenos Aires. Just going through that and him disappearing forever. Same with Chester Desmond, even though we never actually see him again, which I wish we did. I wish he came back for the return. Alas, he did not. But I think they were all just regular human beings that just got consumed or altered beyond, repair by just the experience of being sucked into this whole reality that they had no idea existed. You know what I mean? And just realized that this episode ended. So let's do the next episode. Episode 3, The Man Behind the Glass. I'll wait a minute or so for those watching to do a countdown. But I think that makes sense. I mean, like I said, we'll find out in the next several, months. I guess it'll take to get through this season. Yeah, probably like 2 months, maybe, if I do every other week. As we rewatch too and see it unfold, we can look for like any type of hints that Wyndham Earl might be more than just a regular person, like any type of supernatural like links or any type of psychic, like anything like that he might be more than just a person. Because I'm blanking on anything from memory that makes him anything more than just who they say he is. Unless you mean like in the way of looking at the show and analyzing it in like the metafiction way, then that's a completely different subject. And I have no idea, really. I never thought of Earl in that analysis. But I don't know if you mean that way. Yeah, I'm far behind on chat. Yeah, I know that song. Just you. And the moment between Maddie and James. Yeah. And then Donna runs off. And then I laughed a lot when it started, but I was glad to see him back in the return singing the song at the Roadhouse as one of the acts. I that brought back a lot of memories and nostalgia for sure. I have a Black Lodge Leland Funko. Nice. You got to send me a picture of that on TikTok sometime. I want to see that because I love the Audrey one. There's an Amityville Cop 2. It's like Maniac Cop, but not good. So it sounds like something I'll never check out. Drive-In Massacre, 1976. I've seen that one a long time ago. Same with the Microwave Massacre. I saw those two. All those massacre films from back then, because of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, a lot of films threw in massacre at the end of their movies to try to bank off of that first success. Great decapitation. All right, so there's cool kills in it too. Nice. The Pope of Greenwich Village with Mickey Rourke. Mickey Rourke. He plays the Killer Santa in Silent Night, Deadly Night 5, the toy maker, after bitching about the original film being in theaters and getting it pulled, being like part of that whole dickhead group of people that were complaining and got the movie pulled from theaters in 84. He went on to play the Killer Santa in part 5. I mean, that's ridiculous. And yeah, Burt Young. Burt Young was he was great. That's not his real name too, isn't it? Wasn't it a different name that was like a stage name he used? I remember maybe that. And the same thing that happens with Chester. Okay, so yeah, you were saying kind of the same thing as I was saying that. Yeah, so we're on the same page. Yeah. That's what I think happened with him throughout this, because I don't remember anything. Do you or anyone else who's a big fan of the series and remembers details? Anything that signifies that he's supernatural or has any type of powers or connection to the lodge in any type of way other than that? Like when he goes into it, and the fact that he's able to go into it, because the only reason he's able to access the lodge in the first place is because he finds out how to, right? Because he finds the owl cave, he finds all the diagrams there, and he pieces all the puzzles together at the right time and stuff of when to stand in the sycamore trees, and that leads to the Black Lodge. And then I think that's basically that's how he ends up in there with Annie at the end of the season. But I can't think of anything that makes him different. Like even with Cooper, even though that's explained through the whole metafiction theory that he's a surrogate, just like every FBI agent is for us, for the audience, and he knows things that we know. Basically, his instinct and his extreme intuition is because we know the information already. And so he knows it. He doesn't know why he knows it, because he doesn't know he's in a dream or in a television program, but he does know the information. So he feels it intuitively because we know it as the audience. Yeah, he takes Annie, the virgin, and her fear feeds the lodge. Yeah, which is something that's interesting. Actually, people ready to go with the next episode? We'll start that one up. I'll do a 3, 2, 1, go for episode 3. In 3, 2, 1, go. All right, back to that. What's interesting with that, and also an interesting thing as well about the Tremonts and the Chalfonts that I mentioned earlier, and how I think that's a very overlooked and important piece to the whole puzzle, who they are and everything. The fact that Lynch put them in Fire Walk with Me, and the same thing with the fact that he put Annie in Fire Walk with Me, and the scene with her saying that she's in the lodge with Cooper and everything, shows that that was part of his initial vision, or things that he deemed were worthy of being in there, that they were taking season 2 without him. And then he saw those aspects and said, no, that's actually good. I can use that, and that makes sense for this. So I thought it's interesting always that he brought Annie from season 2 and brought it into Fire Walk with Me for that one scene, which it became a much more important scene after the return. And the same thing with whatchamacallit, the other thing I just mentioned that I can't remember. Those few things that from season 2 that he held on to. I don't know if he planned it ahead of time, if he thought of it, or if it was a Frost thing. Mickey and Roberts had a small scene together in one of our favorite Rourke films, Spun. Oh, I've seen Spun a long time ago. I remember that movie. It's one of the few movies with Mickey Rourke I remember. Yeah, The Missing Pieces. Yeah, that's a very important piece of everything. Just like I always say, Fire Walk with Me in general. Is probably the most important piece of all the Twin Peaks. If you don't watch Fire Walk with Me and you just watch through 2 and The Return without Fire Walk with Me, you're going to be missing so much information and so much stuff that helps you put everything together in like a shockingly amount of large a shockingly amount of content there that you're going to be missing out on. And The Missing Pieces kind of just adds more on top of that. And I've always wondered with the original theatrical release of Fire Walk with Me, why Lynch cut a specific line and scene from the Jeffries sequence. When Philip Jeffries comes to the office and he looks at Cooper and points at him and says, "Who do you think that is there?" You initially, after The Return came out, now we know what that really means. We had ideas at the time because at the end of season 2, we know that he's in the lodge. So it makes sense at first to assume that Jeffries thinks that that's Cooper in the lodge, like the bad version of Cooper, and that good Cooper is trapped in the lodge. But then you have a line in The Missing Pieces that isn't in the actual film. And I don't know why, because it gives a lot of context and it helps give more meaning to some other things throughout the series. When Jeffries is recounting the lodge meeting above the convenience store, and then he puts his head down on the desk and he notices the date being 1989. He says February 1989. They don't have that in the theatrical release of the movie, and I don't know why, because that line right there gives the whole explanation to why he points at Cooper and says, "Who do you think that is there?" He thinks that that's not the real Cooper, but then he realizes when he sees the date that wherever he thought he was, or came from, it was earlier than that, and that Laura hasn't even been killed yet, and that is still the actual Cooper. So I mean, that line missing from Fire Walk with Me, it takes a lot out of there, not knowing that, which is kind of the same thing that happens to Cooper in the last episode of The Return, where he asks what year it is because he doesn't really know what's going on. He gets taken back by the year or the lack of what year it is, saying that Jeffries is taken back by what year it is where he is, because he's thinking that's not really Cooper and that Laura's dead already. And I think that was such an important line to cut out of that, the theatrical release. That's your favorite Rourke film? Yeah, Angel Arts. I mean, the one that usually comes to mind for me. And The Wrestler. Okay, I don't remember that one. I don't remember if I saw The Wrestler. Rob Halford, the singer of Judas Priest. Rob Halford. In Spawn as adult bookstore owner and all his leather. Yeah, it's got to be leather gear. I was never a huge Priest fan, but I was a huge Iron Maiden fan. I always loved Iron Maiden. I used to practice guitar in high school by coming home with one of those 6 CD changers. Remember those like 20 years ago? They had 6, they had a disc tray that came out and you put 6 CDs in there and you'll play one after the other. So I would take from like their debut album, Iron Maiden, through maybe Somewhere Caught in Time, or Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, I think was like their last masterpiece album. But I would play through all those albums back to back twice, because I would play and practice all of Dave Murray's guitar parts and harmonies for one playthrough of the album. And then I'd play through it again, playing all of Adrian Smith's lines and his harmonies. So that was a big part of me practicing in high school, was playing a lot of other bands and stuff in the similar way, but specifically with Maiden, playing through albums twice in a row because of the two different guitarists and guitar parts, because both are just so much fun to play. Adrian Smith's a phenomenal guitarist, and Dave Murray's an excellent guitarist, and Janet Gers is an excellent guitarist who became the third guitarist after being the second one after Smith left. I love all of Maiden stuff for the most part. There's some of the newer stuff that I haven't listened to, their last few albums, but everything up to, no, even later than that, everything up to Dance of Death from 2000, in the 2000s. It was Brave New World, Dance of Death. Dance of Death was the last album that I really loved by Maiden and got into. And knew how to play every song. I still do. I'm sure they're up there somewhere. I have this thing where I just remember every song I've ever learned. And I could just, it's scary. Like when you're playing something that you haven't played in like 10 years and you hear a song or someone tells you to play this song, then your hands just kind of go there and start playing it without you having to think about it. It's kind of surreal when that happens. But yeah, Maiden, I love them. Never got big into Judas Priest. The wrestler is really good. I should rewatch that. Channel is about to clock over 1,400 subs. Oh, nice, man. Congrats. Just me, does not seem nuts. Nah, dude, of course it's nuts. Unless you're talking about something completely different, like hours or something like that. But yeah, it does seem nuts, but it seems nuts with every milestone like that. I'm about to hit 3,000 followers on TikTok, and we're close to 2,500 subs here on the channel. 2432 as of right now. And then TikTok, we're like 30 away from 3,000, 25 away, which is nuts because I just started that TikTok account 6 months ago, barely 6 months ago. So my whole goal, as I told Ginger, me and Ginger talk often. My goal is to have TikTok. I mean, I have Instagram too, and all the social medias and shit. But those are mostly I post just whatever I post on the channel. It gets reposted on Instagram or reposted on X or anything like that. Facebook. TikTok is different, and I'm able to record short little stuff or short like 4 or 5 minute reviews without even like watching the movie, which is my whole thing on the channel with reviews, with deep dives. I'm watching the movie as I'm recording the review. That's why I name them as discussions and commentaries and stuff, because it's not just a flat out review. I'm watching the movie the whole time. So it's real easy on TikTok to just think of a movie. If I'm scrolling, trying to think of something, what to watch for tonight, and I scroll and I see, we'll take Ginger's example of Castle Freak. I'll see it and I'll say, oh, Castle Freak. And I can just sit up and record for 4 or 5 minutes talking about Castle Freak. I don't even have to watch the movie. I've seen it so many times and know everything about it. And it's posted. And you just honestly, there's more engagement on TikTok than on YouTube at this point. Like with how the algorithms change so much on YouTube over the years, and just how saturated like review channels are, and the horror genre in general, like that whole area of YouTube is so saturated. For some reason, TikTok just you get so much more engagement, comments, likes, views, all of that. So my whole goal, where I started with all of this, is to merge the two of them so they're like companion pieces to each other, so that we have the channel, nothing's changing with the channel, same as always, the main focus, and then you have TikTok as a little sister piece for like smaller bits of content when I can't record full on stuff for the channel for whatever reason, which is what I've been doing for the last week or so when I was upstate with my daughter and family and been in pain and shit. I haven't been able to sit up. This is the first time in a while to sit up extendedly for like hours without like it killing me here. So that's progress. But up there, I was able to knock out a bunch of shorter stuff for TikTok because I don't want to post it. I would usually post that type of stuff as shorts on the channel, but there's an algorithm reason for why I don't post shorts really anymore. And that's why I don't post those shorter stuff on the channel also. It's literally the only reason is an algorithm reason that it's not really important to get into, but something that seems to affect your views if you post both shorts and long form content. And I believe in that theory because I've kind of experienced it a few months back that went on for a few months prior to that because of success that shorts had. So I've been kind of purposely staying away from them. So that, if anyone's wondering, that's why any of the stuff on TikTok, I don't post the shorts on here. It's purely just an algorithm thing. And this was the example I was using earlier. Yeah, dude, that's crazy. Congrats, man. Ginger had a review of Castle Freak, my favorite found footage film. That's not a found footage film. Full moon movie. I looked up and I saw a commercial with a shaky camera, and first thing that I thought it was found footage. My favorite full moon picture, Under the Banner of Full Moon, like not counting Charles Band Productions or Empire releases like Reanimator, From Beyond, Dolls, all that. Under strictly full moon, Castle Freak is my favorite. And he did a review on TikTok a while back, and now it's fucking taking off and getting thousands of views. So that is awesome, dude. Loved Iron Maiden, even with the OG singer. Yeah, I loved their first two albums. What's his name? Oh, don't tell me. Paul Didiano or Paul D, something with a D, right? I'm sure you know that you'll know, Russ. It's Paul something with a D. Diano, something like that. Italian, it sounds. But I love their first two albums. Phantom of the Opera off of their debut album is one of my favorite Maiden songs. That whole interlude with the guitar harmonies, and then it goes into the solos. I mean, that sounds like every fucking Iron Maiden song they've ever written. But the interlude and the instrumental and the guitar solos for that song are so good and very like I'm not gonna get that fucking word right. It indicates the direction that they were going in the future with their guitar harmonies and stuff, because they had more of a punk rock feel. Not fully, but they felt like a punk metal hybrid in those early years for the first two albums. Once they got Bruce Dickinson for Number of the Beast, then they went full on, speed metal, whatever you want to call them, and focused on the guitar solos and the harmonies of the guitars and the high vocals. But they were hinting at that with some of the stuff on their first two albums. Phantom of the Opera, that song is one of them. Have you seen Would You Rather with Jeffrey Combs? Of course. It is my favorite Jeffrey Combs performance outside of Reanimator, the Reanimator films in general. Him as Herbert West. It's my second favorite performance from him. I love Would You Rather. Are you serious? That's such a great movie. I did a video on that long ago, like in the first year of the channel or so. I think that's such an underrated film. I plug it any chance I get. Literally any time it comes up. So thank you for bringing it up, Russell. Brittany Snow was great in that. It's a much higher, bigger production than anything I'm used to seeing Sasha Grey in. from back in the day. And we got Ricky from Trailer Park Boys in that. And oh, there's so many people in that film. John Hurd is in there. There's a great cast. And Jeffrey Combs, his character, just the rich, snooty, polite, but yet sadistic maniac who owns that, the foundation or whatever that plays that game every year. We need to fire. Welcome me, chat and watch. Yeah, we got to do that one eventually. We'll throw that in probably when season 2 ends. We'll probably do Fire Walk with Me, then do the return. Right? That would make the most sense, I would think, right? Let me know your guys' thoughts on that, but that's probably the best way to do it. I don't know if you've seen it, Emily, but I did do a deep dive video on Fire Walk with Me specifically. So if you want to hear my theories and thoughts on it, just condensed in my own, I think it was like a 30, 40-minute deep dive, something like that. That's in the Twin Peaks playlist, the Lynch playlist. There's fucking playlists for everything. I was going through some stuff the other day, and I'm looking through my playlists. I was shocked because you just don't realize after so many years. I mean, 3 years is so many, but it's a long time, 3 years plus. You forget how much stuff you've done, or how many movies you've talked about, or how many playlists there are. I have playlists up the asshole for every decade of horror. I try to make things as easy to find as possible, and I also try to be my normal OCD as hell self, which is how I am. So I'm always a perfectionist with things and want things ordered the right way. So I have playlists for 80s horror, 90s horror, 60s horror, all by decade, all by subgenre, all by directors, all by franchises, all of that. So there's a bunch of playlists. So it's easy to find anything at any given time if you are willing to or want to for whatever reason. Maybe on February 23rd. Ooh, good date. Good idea. Love Castle Freak. Yeah, man. It's my favorite full moon. I mean, it has one of my holy trinities of horror, as I say all the time. Stuart Gordon, Barbara Crampton, and Jeffrey Combs. Any film with the three of them that they did, which is only 3 movies, right? Unless was there another one they did together? I don't think so. It was only Reanimator, From Beyond, and Castle Freak, right? That Stuart Gordon directed and Jeffrey Combs and Barbara Crampton starred together in. Yeah. Those 3 movies, just for those 3 films, they're still up there as one of the holy trinities of horror for me. And if you throw in the rest of everyone who worked on those 3 films, and Dolls also, but Crampton wasn't in that, like Charles Band and Richard Band for the scores, except for did he do Dolls? Yeah, he did Dolls, right? I don't know why I'm blanking on if the band did Dolls. Yeah, he did. Dennis Paoli, the writer of all of those movies, or co-writer, all of them too play a huge part into the magic of those films. But to me, the core 3 being the faces in the movies, Barbara and Jeffrey, and Stuart Gordon directing them. So good. Yeah, dude, it's got a bleak ending. I fucking love it. Trancers was Trancers? I think Trancers was Empire. That's a good question. Let me look that up, because that'll bother me, actually, if I don't. There's certain things that will if I don't get an answer right away, and there's other things I can just forget about, because I should remember that. Because I know Charlie directed it, but it was produced by... Yeah, it was Empire. It was produced by Charlie and directed by Charlie. It was edited by Ted Nicolau, which I forgot all about that he edited that movie. It was a great time talking with Ted when we had him on, and I had Larry join me at the Horror Cat Dad. And it was great talking with him about Texas Chainsaw Massacre and how he did sound work for that film. That was a great little conversation before we got into Subspecies and other movies he's directed. Terror Vision and a few others. Puppet Master vs. Demonic Toys is a fun one. Full Moon Picture, Intruder. Yeah, Intruder, you know. Come on, Russ. How do you not know at this point that Intruder is one of my favorite slasher movies and has my favorite slasher kill of all time? Or horror kill in general. Any horror kill. It's the bandsaw from Intruder. That's my favorite kill in horror. Even if it looks fantastic for 1989. It doesn't have a hyper realistic look to it? No, it looks like an 80s practical effect. Yes, it's just the way it's done, the way it's shot, the way it's executed. I love that kill so much. Same with the garbage compactor kill when he gets his head crushed in by the compactor. Those were kills that you didn't see a lot of in the 80s and slashers, like kills that go really that far, especially in the late 80s and 89. By then, everyone was shying away from all the gore and all that stuff. I mean, look at the Friday films with part 6 and especially with part 7, with how butchered those films are because of the fucking MPAA. So you look at Intruder from 89 and the kills in it, it's like, damn, man. They really did such a good job with that film. Plus, it has a crush of mine back when I was growing up. Actually, 2 of them, but I forget the main girl. What's her name? The main actress in Intruder. But why can't I think of her name? No, that's going to bother me. Let me look it up. That'll bother me too. How do I not remember her name? Is it Jennifer Cook or something like that? Why does that name sound familiar? Let's see. Elizabeth Cox. That's it. But I mean, she's gorgeous too. But my crush in that movie and in Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Campers, was Renee Estevez. I adored that girl so much when I was a kid and a young adult growing up. Oh, I loved Renee Estevez. She was so cute. Yeah, Rob Wells is Trailer Park Boy Ricky. I didn't either. Because I knew she was in it, so I knew that was her. But when I saw her, I said, "Oh my god!" I would not have known it was her if I didn't know she was in it. That's absolutely for damn sure. Oh, cool. We got Mike coming out of the bathroom. Well, Philip Gerard, technically, but he's taken over by Mike. The size of that tuba, man. That guy's carried. I love that artwork on the wall right there and that sliding door in the Great Northern. It's such a beautiful location. Cube was great. Yeah, I love the first Cube. Actually, it's funny because I just had that on the other night when I was upstate. I threw it on in the background. I've seen that movie so many times. And Cube 2, Hypercube, I really enjoy that one. As cheesy as it is, and a much, much worse film than the original Cube. I really, really like Hypercube. I like the idea of a hypercube and time and everything being involved and slowing down, speeding up. The couple that fucks themselves to death and time speeds up and they're spinning around like inside her and stuff. They're stuck together. All of that's cool. It's not a great movie. I acknowledge that, but it's a fun one for me. The prequel, Cube Zero, that one's not a fun one for me. That movie is not good. That movie is, oh, it's not terrible, but it's very frustrating. And then they did a Korean. Was it Korean or Japanese? That's going to bother me too. I got to find out. I think it was Korean, but it could be Japanese. Remake of Cube 2 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that. And I checked that out when it came out just because I was interested in seeing a remake of the original Cube. And while it was very faithful for the most part, for the first 2 acts of the movie, it's pretty faithful. I don't know why that movie was made. I don't know why it exists. It's not good. It's not interesting. It doesn't bring anything new to the idea of Cube. Oh, come on. Where is the remake? It is Japanese. I don't know why I was thinking Korean for some reason. Yeah. It is a Japanese science fiction. Yeah. Wasn't great. And now we have Audrey that's stuck at the Great Northern. And we have Jacques Renault here, the brother, right? Or is he a cousin? I always forget. I think he's a brother of the other Renault. That's Michael Parks, who played a lot of things in a lot of movies and TV shows. But most recently, I remember him and know him as the guy from Tusk, Kevin Smith's Tusk with Justin Long. He's the old man who turns him into a fucking walrus. That movie is so insane. Yeah, I don't think I ever saw the sequels to Transfers, and I don't remember the first one at all. Actually, that's another Empire Day Charlie film that I have to return to. I do remember that the cover though, the holographic cover. Yeah, I do remember that. Intruder director's cut on YouTube. It's not really a director's cut. I've seen it. It's the same stuff. There's nothing really new in there. Transfers. It's not. It's not Full Moon. It was released under Empire, but yeah, technically same thing because it's Charles Band. Anything. Same with Tourist Trap, Russ. Like, which I still don't know if anybody knows the difference in Tourist Trap, the original, and the one that's on Tubi with the red cover instead of the regular color. And it's called the whatever, the unrated version that Full Moon released a few years ago. What is the difference? Because I have seen Tourist Trap dozens of times in my life. It's a favorite 70s movie of mine. I don't notice a frame of a difference from the original to the one that they say is uncut and unrated. I don't think there's any difference. Oh, Transfers 2. I just saw that your follow-up comment. Transfers 2 is Full Moon. Yeah, I think the sequels are all Full Moon. Russell, right? Hey, what's up, Black Love? How you doing? Welcome. You have Intruder from Synapse. Nice. I like the name change, Chris. Black Love. I love Transfers, noir film introduced by Charles Band on YouTube. The what? The newer? There's a newer Transfers. Transfers. Well, he's doing a lot of that with his whole subgenre, sub-production label of Full Moon, the pulp noir movies, which is when I had Charlie on to talk about that. The first one in that release was Quadrant. That was the first in the production line of all these movies that he has planned. I think they didn't release the third one yet. Quadrant was the first one. That's when Charlie came on and we talked about it to promote it. Then Death Streamer was the second release under that pulp noir Full Moon label. And The Lost Girl's Private Diary is the third one. And it got delayed because I know that because Chris Alexander told me. And that's why we haven't had Charles Band back on yet. to talk about that one because it is delayed. So I don't know when that resumes. I think the actress hurt herself or like had an injury or something like that. Everyone's saying hey to Chris. You all cheer me up too. Came from a stream, not so much. Oh, well, that's how it is for you, man. It's always a pleasure having you around, Chris. I fucking missed the whole community here because I said I was upstate last week and I've been feeling like shit because I pulled something in my right here and it's been killing me and on and off for over 2 weeks now. It's still hurting. Not bad like it was, but it flares up still here and there. And then I have a tooth that I need a cavity filled in a root canal and shit. I'm going to back to Mexico to get work done on it. It's like a quarter of the fucking price on Saturday, like I did last year. And that's been hurting me. So between the two things, I've been in so much pain the last like 10 days, which is why I haven't really been active here on the channel. So that was my little reprieve. Get this fan going. This is hot as shit in this room. That was like a little reprieve for 10 days. But we got Feast 2, not Feast. Why even a fucking month ago when I did the video for Feast 2, I kept saying Feast 2 coming next when I mean Feast 3. That's how, it's not forgettable, but it's my least favorite in the trilogy by far. Feast 3 will be out in the next few days for sure. Deep dive on that. Poltergeist 3 will follow it. And then King Kong, the original, and not a horror film, but Lumet's Dog Day Afternoon with Al Pacino will be coming soon in the next week or so. Those 4 films. Yeah, I got to catch up on chat because people, Connie mentioned Japan. She got it ahead of me. Yeah, man, I can't complain otherwise besides the pain shit. Got to see my daughter for the week. She's doing good. Hell yeah. Love Sin City. I've never seen the sequels to Sin City. I saw Sin City when it released. I think I saw it in theaters. I liked it. I don't remember much from it because I never like fell in love with that movie. I think I've only seen it that one time when it was in theaters. And then I never saw any of the, there was more than one sequel or 2. Because I think there was only one sequel, but I never saw it. Love the OG Feast. Yeah, I did videos on Feast and Feast 2. That's right. You were missing for a while, Russell. We were all worried about you. I did videos on Feast and Feast 2 and Poltergeist and Poltergeist 2. So those are in the backlog if you want to go back and check those out. So we're up to the 3rd entry in both of those, which ironically, Feast, as I said, Feast 3 is my least favorite in that series. Poltergeist 3 is my favorites in that series. So we got my least favorite in one, my favorite in the other. Just the 2 movies? That's what I thought. Yeah, I never saw the sequel. How is it? Is it good? Because I liked the noir look and feel and the color usage and everything, the black and white, but then you had the guy with the yellow face and some color here and there and the comic book feel to it. I like the whole feel of Sin City. Maybe that's another movie I should probably rewatch again sometime soon and see if my appreciation for it grows. Yeah. I gotta get back into that universe. Same with The Watchmen. When that movie first came out, I was working in a movie theater back then, 2009, 2010. I loved it, and then I never watched it again. I don't remember a fucking thing from that movie. That's the thing with movies, is that it's one, because I watch so many of them and have my entire life, because I'm a night owl. Anytime I'm home throughout my whole life, if I didn't go out, which I do less and less as age fucking catches up. But even back in my teenage years, in my 20s and shit, if I was out every night and shit, even when I come back home, I throw on a movie. That's like 99% of the time what I've always done, because I'm a night owl. So I need something to fall asleep to. So I've seen so many things, and I don't know, there's just like a quality level standards that I hold certain things to. And if I don't get them met watching a film, even if I really enjoy it, if it's something that I can't recall anything really from the movie, like a specific scenes or dialogue or characters' names and anything like that, even if I did enjoy it, it's still something that's gonna, fall out of my memory very quickly, unless it's something that has some stuff that really sticks with me. And that's with pretty much any movie. That's why there's a lot of movies that I'll watch that maybe I'm a little hard on. I don't think so, in my opinion. And that's what this all is, my fucking opinion here. But there's movies that, like on Dreamcatcher, I caught some shit for giving that movie some shit and how terrible that film is. And yeah, it's a terrible film, in my opinion, of course. But is it dreadful in every way that there's no worse movies out there? Of course not. But I can't call it a good or even a decent movie when other movies are decent that are so much better than that. So there's this whole weird system I have when it comes to talking about movies. There's somebody that does understand a little about my weird system of how I like movies and my opinions. He agrees with them almost 100% of the time. He entered the chat. His name's Cal. What's up, Cal? How you doing, brother? Agrees with my movie opinions almost 100% of the time, right? Love Al Pacino in Justice for All, Serpico, Dog Day Afternoon. Oh, yeah, I love him in everything. And yeah, so look forward to that one, Russ. Dog Day Afternoon deep dive will be coming in the next week or so. Because I got to do in the order of Feast and Poltergeist 3, just so I get those ones out finally and finish those franchises. Well, Poltergeist, I might do the remake. But that'll not be a priority for a while. But I'll do the remake eventually of Poltergeist because it was different enough to compare with the original. But then we'll have King Kong and Dog Day are both right after those two. So I read that as Cal Haru, my brother. And I thought of Haru from Beverly Hills Ninja, Chris Farley. That is such an underrated comedy, man. That was a favorite comedy of mine growing up. Chris Rock's in it too. Everyone's saying, hey, Cal, Dreamcatcher, have not seen in years. Yeah, it's not good, man. Yeah, basically. I mean, there's just as many films that I've seen and watched that I don't care for, that people love, or that are beloved movies, as there are movies that I love that I know are terrible movies that most people hate, and I enjoy and love the shit out of them for whatever reasons. What's up, man? 99%? I say around there, right? Chris, now I know why you wear gloves. Actually, no, that's why I like the title name, Chris, because it plays into the whole Giallo thing and how you're another huge Giallo fan. And slashers as well, and slashers are right there with Giallos. And I've seen enough black gloves and slasher movies as well. So, great name. Worst horror remake. Oh, man. There's a lot of them. Of bad remakes, I should say. Worst? I mean, The Wicker Man's got to be up there. That was the first one to come to mind, actually. It's not the worst, but that one's got to be up there, right? I mean, but let's put aside how fun it is and ridiculous and stupid, and that we have Nicolas Cage, put all that aside, it is a terrible remake. That is a terrible film. Oh, the acting, the plot, it's the same for the most part, but the way it's executed, oh, compared to the original, which is a masterpiece of folk horror. That's one of the first ones. That's the first one actually that came to mind. But let's think about this. Yeah, as Paula said, it's tough. Let's brainstorm here together, shall we? There you go, right there. That was just about to come out of my mouth. Black Christmas 2019, not Nightmare, but I also really dislike the Nightmare remake. I think that movie is dreadful. Except for the only good thing about that movie is the Everly Brothers. All I have to do is dream being used in the grocery store scene and the end credits. And it's only there for 5 seconds in the grocery store scene. So basically, you got to get through the whole movie for the best part of it being a song that you can just listen to on YouTube. So that's how I feel about the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. Not that Haley did a bad job. Jack Earl Haley, he did it was a valiant effort from him with the material he had to work with. He's a great actor. And actually, talking about Full Moon earlier, he's in Doll Man, the original Doll Man from Full Moon in the early 90s. And he does a good job then for an early 90s film called Doll Man and what that movie's about and everything. He's the best actor in that movie. He's the best performance by far. I mean, the guy who plays Doll Man is fun and gives a great performance. But anyone else, Haley does a great job. He just didn't have anything good to work with, really. And also the fact that nobody really can play Freddy Krueger except for Robert Englund. Others will disagree. I even can argue my own point a bit because Dylan's New Nightmare, the fan film that we got, last year, the year before? I want to say last year. The sequel to Wes Craven's New Nightmare, we had somebody playing Freddy that wasn't Robert Englund. And I thought they did a very good job, actually. So I don't want to say that nobody can play could play Freddy but Robert, but pretty much. Same with Brad Dourif and Chucky. I don't think anybody else can play Chucky and do the voice of him or play Charles Lee Ray. It's got to be Brad Dourif. We saw that in the remake of Child's Play, which is another terrible remake, actually. Now that we are talking about remakes. Not as bad as these two up on the screen right now at all. Anywhere near as bad as those two. But bad. And we had Mark Hamill playing Chucky and doing the voice. And it's Mark Hamill, who's an excellent voice actor, who did an excellent job as the Joker, which I went out of my way when he did that voice acting as the Joker, because I'm not a superhero guy, as I always say, aside from some older Batman movies like the Tim Burton ones. When I heard that he was voicing the Joker and then heard how great of a job he did, I had to check it out. And he did a phenomenal job. It's not that he can't do the job. It's just that Chucky is Brad Dourif and Brad Dourif is Chucky. I don't think that's too much of a hot take nowadays or ever. Ginger Snaps 2 is the best. Yeah, we've talked about that. I like 2 a lot. Actually, I mentioned that a little earlier before you came in. We were talking about werewolf movies, and I brought up Ginger Snaps, and I also said how I really enjoyed the second one. Not even close. Leprechaun Origins. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen any of the Leprechaun movies past the 3rd film. You know, my brother 2K, I agree. He needs to kick a certain YouTuber's ass. I don't even want to know. You crazy cats. It is. Worst remakes is most of them. I mean, that's a very broad stroke comment, but more often than not, the remake is inferior to the original. Like, probably, if I were to just pull numbers out of my ass, 85% of the time, 80% of the time, probably about 85% or more. Who might that be? I love that. I don't mind that. Yeah, I know. I know that you've said that before, and I know a few people who enjoy it and or don't mind it, and that's good. Like as always, I'm glad people do with anything. All right, we're moving right along to episode 4. So 3 just ended. I'll do a countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. On season 2, episode 4, the last one for the night. But yeah, the remake is a train wreck for me. I'll DM you, Cal. Has a great intro, but it's the worst in the franchise. Yeah, it's definitely the worst in the franchise. You got that right. And yeah, I would have to watch all the Leprechaun movies. Well, actually, Cal, you were the one, thankfully, that reminded me of when I did my top kills, the 1,000 horror kills compilation. You reminded me of Leprechaun 3 because that's the one I stopped after. I never saw past 3 and I didn't remember 3. I since actually watched 3 again since you told me about that to include that in that compilation video. But I never saw past that one. I didn't really have a desire to because he just goes to space and then he goes back. He goes to the hood. Then he goes back to the hood. So I'd have a lot of Leprechaun movies to catch up on to get to the Origins one, which sounds so bad that I wouldn't want to take that journey anyway to get there. As Hoff in the mob film, The Irishman. Yeah, you've brought that up a few times, Russ, because when talking like Pacino or Scorsese stuff, I never got through the first, watching the movie. I watched the first 2 hours and change, and I just got bored or I fell asleep or something when The Irishman first came out, and I never rewatched it. I got to rewatch that one too. I love the original movies too. Don't like the reboots. If someone's going to do something, do a continuation of the title movie. Yeah, I mean, there's all different types of scenarios, right? That we have, especially today when it comes to remakes. We have just a straight up remake, one that's a remake verbatim almost, same story and everything as the original movie it's named after. Then we have ones that are loose remakes and loose adaptations that don't really follow the story, kind of like Silent Night from 2012. How it doesn't follow the story of Billy or any of that from Silent Night, Deadly Night, but it's the same general idea of a guy dressed up as Santa going around murdering people on Christmas. So you have those type of remakes. Then you have the remakes like Black Christmas 2019 that aren't fucking remakes and have nothing to do with anything to do with the original movie, the property, or anything. They're obvious cash grabs. Those are the worst offenders of any of the remake things. Then you have like the legacy sequels, which is another name. I hate that title, that term, all of that legacy. And I attribute that to Scream, requel and legacy sequel, all that stupid shit comes from the Scream movies of late, the last few Scream ones. But you have movies like the I Know What You Did Last Summer, the one that we recently got. That's kind of a remake, but it's also a direct continuation at the same time and bringing back the characters from the original, but having the same exact plot for the most part happen to a new group of people. For the most, like, out of all those examples of remakes, I really don't care for any of the above unless it's a remake, a direct remake, like an actual remake of the movie. Plot and all. Sometimes it doesn't have to be the plot, like a Silent Night situation. If they do it well enough and it's different enough, that's usually the type of remakes that I really like. Like, I always bring up the Maniac remake from 2012 with Elijah Wood. I love the original Maniac. But that Maniac remake is so different, and it was such a risk, and it was such an ambitious film, and to do it completely from first person, 99.9% of the movie, for Elijah Wood's performance being excellent, the homages to the original, for changing the setting from grimy New York City to, the brightly lit LA setting that we have. All of those risky changes, they paid off for me 100%. And that's why I consider that movie one of the greatest remakes like ever. Those type of remakes are the ones that I can get behind and the ones that I really end up liking. Did you like the remake? Yeah, that's another one that it's leagues better for me than the Nightmare and the Child's Play remakes for sure. But it's still nothing I like. Like it's a thing that I can pick a few things out of that movie. That's cool. That's cool. Your tits are stupendous. That line is always funny as shit. And a few other stuff. And I'm fine with the rest. You can keep it all. Like everything else. That's one of those movies. I think people need to let that nobody, or get that, I guess he meant, nobody can play Freddy, because the same was said about Pennywise. Yeah, I mean, of course, I get where you're coming from, Cal, for sure. People have been saying that about roles, like you said, forever, that this person's the only person who can play this character and stuff. And then you go on to get other examples of people playing the same character and doing an excellent job, or even a better job in some instances. Yeah, it does happen for sure. It's just exceptionally rare. It's very rare. And especially if you have a character as iconic as Freddy. I mean, Pennywise, you only have the miniseries, and people who are King fans who read the novel, and the recent flood of fans because of the chapters 1 and 2. That's it. Freddy has a legacy spawning 7 films, video games, TV series, every medium you can imagine for decades. And same with Chucky. So I think that's what makes people go to that, and say that so often, and why I do also. They're just certain characters that are so fleshed out. We know them so well, and the charisma of the person portraying them is so ingrained with what the character is. I don't think anyone else can play them. Same with like Tim Curry in Clue, which is my second favorite comedy ever. Sure, could somebody else have played that role of Mr. Body and Wadsworth and stuff? Yeah. But for me, no one could have played that role except for Tim Curry, the way that he plays it. And that's a small random example. That's not even a huge character from a mega franchise or anything like that. And yes, Russ, he was in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which is a great movie and a great performance of his in there. He started off doing, just from the get-go, Dorff was always an amazing actor through and through to this day, even though he doesn't really act anymore. Yeah, I mean, and I still don't think, like, that's why I said when I first said about all this whole conversation that I don't think anyone but Freddie can be played by Robert. But then I said I could argue my own argument with seeing the portrayal we got in the fan film Dylan's New Nightmare. So I agree with you pretty much. Other people can play Freddy. And the fact that that was a short 20 minutes, 23, 20 something minutes long, I don't know if maybe that helped it because you don't see him on screen as much or whatever, but it still didn't feel right 100%. So I don't know. It's something that we'll see, I guess, in another few decades, like when we're old fuckers and they got like another 7 Nightmare films, and we have 3 other actors who played Freddy Krueger and stuff. By that point, if all of them have not worked almost universally for the fan base, then I think it's a safe bet to say nobody but Anglin could play him. But it all depends on the character, of course, and the actor. Whatever the actor is that happens to come along that gets that chance to play whatever role that is, it all lays on them too. I mean, you could just not have an actor come along. That happens, that the universe and fate puts them in the path of the Nightmare franchise for them to get the opportunity to play Freddy Krueger. You get what I'm saying? Like, the stars would have to align again perfectly. Yeah, he is. I mean, of the few that I've seen, the first 3. But Davis is fun, always. That's true. Batman 89 is one of the few Batman films I love and always have. Scarface is the better film for me versus the original Scarface movie. Dark Knight I loved at the time, but I haven't seen it forever. But so I wouldn't really be able to comment too much on how I feel about that versus anything else. Texas Chainsaw Remake, I always say, is one of the best remakes post the 2000s and the best slasher remake out of all the major slasher franchises. Out of Child's Play, Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, and Texas Chainsaw. Texas Chainsaw 3 is by far the best remake. Dawn of the Dead, I prefer the remake to the original too. It took me till more recently, a few years ago, to come to that feeling. I did used to like Dawn more than the remake, the original, but yeah, the remake overtook it for me. So yeah, there's definitely some in there that I agree with 100%. Yeah, I know you like the remake of Chucky. Cal's another mega Chucky fan, as myself. And Mayanne as well. We gotta fucking do that sometime soon. I know we keep talking. I've been saying for like a year. We gotta do a Child's Play stream sometime. You, me, and May. I'm gonna fucking put a reminder on my phone and buzz me like in a week and say, fucking remember. 3 grows on you. Leprechaun 3. Yeah, it's fun. Back to the Hood is good. That's another one I like more than the original. I'm not saying I don't like there's a lot of remakes I like more than the original, actually. It's just there's so many types of remakes nowadays that the majority nowadays are not good or things that I don't care for. That's more where I was going with all of that. Because yeah, there's a lot of, and especially not even just remakes, as you know, there's a lot of sequels I love that I prefer to the original too. A lot of them are ones that people hate for the most part. Yeah, that's what I mentioned earlier. That's better for me in every way than Silent Night, Deadly Night. The kills are so much better in it. The not the wood chipper kill is so brutal and vicious. I just did a TikTok review on that the other day. It's such a brutal, evil, vindictive, fucking vicious film, Silent Night. Which that's what I don't know what to expect with Silent Night, Deadly Night. Because we're getting a remake, Cal, in December. Another remake of Silent Night, Deadly Night. This one actually titled Silent Night, Deadly Night, and it's going to actually follow the story of the original with Billy. So, with as good as 2012 Silent Night is, and how much I love that movie compared to the original, I don't know how they're going to do with this remake. Because if it's not up to par with the kills in Silent Night 2012, it's instantly I'm not going to like it. I know that. Unless the story is excellently handled for some reason and like it's a really good film otherwise, if the kills aren't up to par with the 2012 version, I see no point in it existing. Black Christmas 2000, it's 2006, I think, right? It came out. And I know you like that one more. And I actually really like that one too. I don't prefer it to the original Black Christmas. I think the original is much better, but I do really like the '06 version. Yes, the original My Bloody Valentine is Canadian. I really don't care for Canadians. No, I'm kidding. I know you're one of my favorite Canadians, Russ. I really don't care for the original My Bloody Valentine, though. I never really did, mostly because of the lack of the kills in that film. And we end up getting much better kills in the remake. And even though that's a rare case where we got the kills uncut from My Bloody Valentine decades later, I've seen that version. I've seen the uncut kills. Some of them are fantastic. But since it's been so long since I first saw that film when I was growing up and always wishing the kills were better and everything, I just my opinion was cemented on that movie long ago. So that even though we got the uncut kills decades later, and they're great, most of them, it doesn't change my opinion really or feeling of the movie. The Rabbit remake, I still did I see I always do this and confuse these two movies. The Rabbit remake and the movie Raw, the French film. And I always forget which one I saw, which one I didn't see. And they have nothing to do with each other, really, except for having an R as the title and being one word. I don't remember if I've seen the Rabbit remake. I don't think I did. So I can't talk about that. I know people that think that the remake is better than Cronenberg's Rabbit, though. I really love Cronenberg's Rabbit. That's one of his best films, I think, of all the movies I've seen of his, which is every film of his from, well, as of now, from Crime of the Century's first film, right? That was his earliest film. Or maybe he did one other before that. Crime of the Century, Shivers, all the way through Naked Lunch. I haven't seen a lot of later Cronenberg, but for early Cronenberg, Rabbit, I think, is one of his best. The Brood is my favorite Cronenberg film. Love that remake and Maniac. Yeah, they're both great ones. Maniac, especially, as I said. Which one, Chris? The My Bloody Valentine remake? That was a very good one. Like the remake. Didn't know there was a Scarface remake. No, Scarface, Russ, was a remake. De Palma's Scarface was a remake of a film, Scarface, from the 30s. I want to say 32. And if I remember that, I mean, I don't know why I would remember that. Unless I looked it up when I did my video on Scarface last year or something, and that's why I remember. But it was based off of, yeah, it was a remake of that. Like a loose remake. Like, I think it was in the original Scarface, he was in the 30s movie, he was a moonshiner, a bootlegger, or something like that. It wasn't cocaine. So, I mean, like, it's a very loose remake. And I could be wrong, but I think that original film was based off a novel or a story, right? Scarface? Let me look it up now. Now, that's another thing that'll bother me. 1983 was De Palma's. Wow, it fucking was 1932, the original. I don't know how I remembered that. His name in that one is, and it's a Howard Hawks film. That's one thing I did remember, which is a favorite director of John Carpenter, actually. It is based off a novel. And the whole movie's kind of inspired by Al Capone. Yeah, that's right. Tony's name in the original Scarface is Antonio Tony Camante. Camante. So no Montana. Oh, we also have George Raft and Boris Karloff who were in the 32 Scarface. Okay, so it was a novel from 1930 was where Scarface originated from. That's what I figured. My buddy Valentine, you're talking about. Even the 3D is cool in that. Like I saw that in theaters. The 3D was pretty damn well executed. And it's usually a gimmick I don't love in movies. There's only a handful of films that I like that are 3D. And most of them are like 80s movies when it was big back then and getting big again because the 50s had a big blow up with 3D when it first became popular. And then it had that resurgence in the 80s. And I mean, Friday Part 3 is probably one of my favorite. Not that I ever watched them in 3D, but just saying like movies that I love that have a 3D, release. Scarface is the stupidest movie ever constructed. Which one, Liquid Mass? Are you talking about De Palma's or are you talking about Howard Hawks 32 version? Because if it's the De Palma one, I don't know what the fuck drugs you're on, but I want some of them. Yeah, Russell, I figured you have. When you asked though, I didn't know if you were asking if they remade Scarface like De Palma's version and remade a new one, or like what you meant with that question. So thought it was good to point out for people who didn't know that there is a original Scarface. I love Pacino so much. Pacino, De Niro, Marlon Brando, um, Jack Nicholson. Those are among my favorite actors, or who I deem as probably the best actors of their generations. Edward Norton was a favorite of mine when he did Primal Fear, which is an excellent film. If anyone hasn't seen Primal Fear, Edward Norton's first movie before he did American History X, which is another phenomenal film. But Primal Fear with Richard Gere and Laura Linney starring along with Norton. Damn, man, he was great. That's a great movie. Okay. We know nothing about movies because the homosexual shit or whatever you said is in Scarface. All right. Hey, you're entitled to your opinion, man. Scarface is your favorite De Palma? Yeah. I don't know if it's. Yeah, it's probably mine too. I mean, Dress to Kill is a great one. But yeah, that's probably. And Carrie, I'm not a huge fan of Carrie. I mean, he's had a lot of movies, but I don't know. Scarface probably would be my favorite De Palma film. There you go. The fuck out of here. This stupid dumbass. Liquid Mass. Yeah, you're gone. You're blocked now. Coming talking about fucking Scarface like he's an obvious troll. Only latent homosexuals like Scarface. I feel like someone said that recently. Yeah, I saw you. Thanks, Chris. Um, I feel like I saw that in a stream sometime like a few months ago, like a same random comment like that from some random person. And I thought maybe it was Sean. Just because I could see him doing that. Because I haven't talked to him in forever after all that stupidity. Oh, Lucy. She's all pissed off at Andy as always. I mean, we haven't been talking Twin Peaks much, which I knew that was going to happen just because it's the first stream in a while. I'm back from upstate. So I knew we were going to be chatting about a whole bunch of shit. Clips. Yeah. Primal Fear is great, Paula. You got to watch the whole thing. The twist is excellent. Twist is excellent in that movie. Oh, absolutely. There's nothing that phases me. That's the thing, is that if you want to do like we do, like if you want to be a content creator and have a channel or any social media like that, you have to have no fucks given about what anybody thinks of you. Like, and that takes a lot for some people. Like, some people are not comfortable on camera. Some people are not comfortable. I mean, I was the same way when I first started doing this. The first 6 months, 9 months or so, I was a lot more reserved. I wasn't letting my full personality out. But once you reach that point and you realize that, just like anything, not everyone's going to like you. Not everyone's going to like you for any reason. Your hair, your fucking... your laugh, your personality, whatever the reason is, there's going to be people who do not care for you, and those people can fuck off and move right on. That's their free right, like 100%. And once you get in that mind state, then you'll do anything, like online, like for like, all the stupid shit I've done in videos for you guys over the last few years. You just get so used to it. This is me. Fuck you if you don't like it, and I'm gonna do what I want because I think it's fun, or I think people will enjoy it, and that's it. If you don't, then go pound sand somewhere, like Liquid Mass is currently doing. It's pounding sand. Actually, let me go back to that, Russell. Yeah, the remake of Cape Fear is great, and the original. That's an example of a remake and original that are both great. I saw that on either Watch Mojo or Miss Mojo. They are Camtasia. Yeah, I know Watch Mojo. And I know they have a few spin-offs too, like spin-off channels, like you said, Miss Mojo, and it's like 3 or 4 others that they have. I'll watch a countdown from then every now and then if it comes up on my screen and pops up on a recommended video. You have the girl announcer, host or whatever, that has that distinct voice, I know. He's a bleeding wanker. Well, he should stop wanking. He'll stop bleeding. But it happens all the time. I mean, that's the advice I give some people, like, who I meet or talk to or reach out to me, that are starting a channel or starting what they're doing on whatever platform. And that's the advice I always give. I said, just be yourself, talk about, post whatever the fuck you want, whatever you enjoy, whatever you're passionate about, and whatever you think you can share with other people that'll be passionate about it also, and share that same passion and love. Number one advice I can give to anybody, not just for YouTube or anything, in anything in life, anything in life. If you can reach the point in your life, which it's taken me a long time, but if you can reach the point in your life where you have fully accepted yourself, flaws and all, warts and all, this is who I am, I know who I am, and you are aware of yourself and who you are. Once you reach that point, you really can find a lot more happiness in things. And as someone who's not been too happy, like on and off most of my life, and dealing with depression and other stuff, it's liberating to reach that point where you know who you are. There's no more I'm lost and I don't know what my identity is. I don't know who I am and stuff like that. When you finally do, it's a great feeling. because then you can, like I said, you can be yourself in any situation, do whatever you want, say whatever you want, and if people don't like you, don't agree, then go listen to somebody else. That's it. It's as simple as can be. But then you always have the dickheads that are always going to be dickheads and just love trolling people for no reason, which luckily I've never really had to deal with much. In the 3+ years now of doing this, I've maybe had a handful of negative comments, like 10 maybe, on all the videos I've posted. That's it. One, because we have such a great community, and two, because the horror community in general is so great. And most of the people that come and are horror fans are great people. Yeah, I've gotten twats like that in my vintage streams. Yeah, they pop up every now and then. It's rare, but when it happens, it's just, that's exactly what I do. Block it, block and move on. Especially you come in with a stupid fucking comment like that. The only one who likes Scarface is latent homosexuals. All right. This person has nothing to contribute to society in any way. Has nothing to contribute to my channel, which is all about talking about film and art and any of its forms. So instant ban and fucking kicked immediately. He's gone, pound sand and wherever, Arabia, which isn't even a place anymore. Actually, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is the first film of the 3. Didn't know until the end where he takes off his dead shoulder. Yeah, right. Good. It's The Good, Bad, and the Ugly for $12 more, and another one, or is it for a few dollars, something like that, and then for a few dollars more, something like that. That's an amazing trilogy, and I'm not a huge Western fan, but Sergio Leone is just a fantastic director, and The Good, Bad, and the Ugly is one of Quentin Tarantino's 3 most influential films of all time that he considers most influential on him as a filmmaker are The Good, Bad, and the Ugly, Mario Bava's Black Sabbath, and Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein are Tarantino's 3 most influential movies. Is it? Oh wait, hold on one sec, Chris. Russell, is it? It's really called that? The Italian title? The Good, the Ugly, the Bad? That's funny. I never knew that. You just watched it recently, Chris? Yeah, I watched that a long time ago because my dad always liked westerns, and I watched a lot of westerns because of him. A lot of Clint Eastwood stuff, and John Wayne stuff, and the movie Tombstone, and a lot of the classic ones. He was big into western stuff. And he made me watch the Dollars trilogy. That's what it is. Fistful of Dollars and for a few dollars more. Those movies I watched as a kid. My dad made me watch those. It's been a while since I watched all 3 of them or any of them. It's like I said, I'm not a big Western fan. But there are a handful of films in that genre that I do think are excellently made movies. Red River is my favorite John Wayne film. I don't know if I've seen it. There's a lot of that whole subgenre and that genre of film that I've never gotten into or saw or anything like that. And a handful of the ones that I have seen over the years are ones from like Bava or Fulci or the Italian directors, who did spaghetti westerns and ventured into that genre. And even then, like those movies by those directors that aren't horror films they were all one-time watches for the most part. All of Bava's non-horror films, all of Fulci's non-horror films, the ones that I've seen of their non-horror films, I should say, I've only watched once, like Contraband by Fulci and For the Apocalypse, and a few others, his non-horrors. I watched those one time each. Same with Bava's Danger Diabolique and his Conan film. A few of those movies by him too were one-time watches. I enjoyed them on those watches, but it's just not really my genres. I know that actor. I know that name. It's an actor, right? Yeah, I know that. Oh, we have Dick Tremaine. This whole thing, this side plot with Lucy and the love triangle between Dick Tremaine and Andy, and then she gets pregnant, and she's like auditioning the two of them for who would be the best father before she finds out who the father is. All of that is whatever. All of that is, I don't know how I feel about that. The whole character, Dick Tremaine, too, he's a dick. He lives up to his name. He's just a character you don't care about at all. I have all the Italian Western sets, our release. Nice. Yeah, that's a whole subgenre I want to get into more. Not Westerns in general, but specifically the spaghetti Westerns from Italy. For some reason, like I thought about that maybe a few weeks ago when somebody brought up a John Wayne movie, and we were talking Westerns for a few minutes, and same thing kind of came up with the Italian spaghetti Westerns. And I thought then, I said, I should get more into that genre and explore some more movies in there. John Wayne's last film was The Shootist with Jimmy Stewart, young Ron Howard, and Scatman Crothers. That's a great cast, actually. Scatman Crothers from, a few things, but The Shining, right? And, what's the other thing that he's great in? The anthology. Tales from the, no, not Tales from the Dark Side. Twilight Zone, the movie. He's in the segment where at the old person home, and he gives the magic power to them to make them kids again and stuff. That's a great segment. Once Upon a Time in the West. That's another one that I've seen a long ago, and I always thought it had a great title. Fistful of Dynamite. I don't think I've heard of that one. So they have the judge here in the room with Cooper and Sheriff Truman because they think that Ben Horne is who killed Laura. They don't think that, but that's how they set it up in the next episode or two episodes from now, because they arrest Ben, but then they know that it's Leland, and they kind of use Ben as a way of getting Leland to the police station and jailing him. But not before, unfortunately, Bob can strike again and kill Maddie, which is such a great scene. Did he kill her already? We haven't been paying attention that much on the stream, as I said. I don't think we saw that yet. Gregory Peck, great actor. I suggest we leave the question of bail till morning. The facilities are adequately. Everyone's been most kind. And then we'll say good night, deputy. Good night. But until they do that with Ben Horne, they arrest Leland here for killing Renault in the hospital. I like that judge's line. I'll speak for us all. We have hard jobs. I mean, I could see that back when this aired as being pretty different. Seeing a father kill some guy after thinking that he's the killer of his daughter is something we've seen many times. But something that I don't think a lot of people saw coming when this first happened and was airing. But then the double whammy of, because that's something you can relate to and understand a little bit, especially if you have kids. Someone hurts or threatens my kid, I'm fucking killing them and going to jail. Like, it's as simple as that. And it wouldn't be a question. It wouldn't, nothing. Just on instinct alone. Anyone fucks with my kid, family, they're getting hurt extremely or dying. And then that's just how it is. So to see a father do that out of love for his kid and then get hit with the whammy that he's the one who killed his daughter, I can't imagine when this was airing, man, what some people were thinking. Like, because this was not stuff that you saw on sitcoms and like on cable TV back then. And that's definitely why, I mean, Fire Walk with Me was so ill received when it first released. No one expected to see the bleakness and how dark that film is compared to the show here. All the stuff in Fire Walk with Me, I mean, that's where you really explore the incest and that it's Leland possessed by Bob and not what everyone is look at it and interpret it as molesting his daughter and raping his daughter since she's 12 and then murdering her. I mean, it's really some dark shit that never would have made it on the TV series back in the day when this aired. All right, this is when Catherine shows up as the Japanese investor, and she's all in a Japanese disguise, talking like a Japanese guy. All of this is so stupid, but it's so charming. I love Catherine's character. Piper Laurie is just excellent as always. Charles Bronson, another great actor. Henry Fonda, yep. Once Upon a Time in the West. Oh, they're in that? Okay. Yeah, that's another one that I'd have to revisit because I always like that title. Oh, we got Jack Nance on screen, Pete Martell, who I always love Nance. Then we have this whole thing going into the next few episodes and on through season 2 with Josie Packard. And is that her brother or cousin? Someone, the Japanese guy that comes to take her back home and is spying on her and threatening her and shit. And then her husband, who is dead, but he's really alive. All of that is whatever too. I mean, all of that from season 2 is stuff that I really don't give a shit about. And the stuff with when Josie gets sucked into the door, the handle and the drawer inside the hotel at the Great Northern, that feels like they were just trying to be weird for the sake of being weird to feel like David Lynch. That's what that whole sequence feels like. I don't like any of that. Was he? That's something I did not know, Chris. Cool. What year was that movie? What year did that come out? I don't know why I'm thinking like in the 70s. Let's see. I'm sure you'll know. 80s, 84. Okay. No, that's not. That's the wrong movie. I just typed in Once Upon a Time and did not realize how many movies start with that. 1968. Okay. So a little earlier than I would have thought. Yeah, 668. I was gonna say 70s. So that was before he started directing, right? Argento? Because Plumage was 1970. So that was before he put out his directorial debut. Yeah, based on a story by Dario Argento, Bernardo Bartolucci is another name I recognize. And I knew it was directed by Sergio Leone. But I did not know Ennio Morricone did the score. Which, I mean, he did so many scores, so many genres, so many movies, but he did a lot of Westerns too. I might check out the score to that real soon because episode just ended. That is episode 4. And we ended with that little subplot starting with the Japanese guy related to Josie, whatever, threatening Hank, Norma Jennings' husband, who's out on probation or parole or whatever. So leading up to the next few episodes is where this show really starts to lose its whole direction, literally, for the like kind of because of Lynch leaving. But there is some good stuff. So this will be the more sluggish part of watching this series after they reveal, Laura's killer and Leland and everything, which I think is in season episode 7 or 8. So next in 2 weeks, well, I'll be in Mexico next Saturday for a week, so I'll be home that Saturday. That weekend, whatever day I'm back, whether it's Sunday night or Monday night or whatever, 2 weeks from now, we'll do the next episodes, which will be 5 through 7. And if I'm right and 7 is the one where they reveal the killer, then that'll be a nice way of ending the whole David Lynch involved arc of Twin Peaks, then entering the rest of season 2, which is a mixed bag, until we get to Firewalk with Me. As Emily said earlier, we'll do a watch along of that before we jump into the return. But all right, guys, awesome to be back. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for the love and support as always. Good to be back. Good to be streaming, and good to be alive. I'm feeling good. Feast 3 and Poltergeist 3, I'll be recording those tomorrow. So Feast 3 will be out in the next few days. And then the aforementioned other ones, King Kong from 33, right? Yeah, 33, the original. And Dog Day Afternoon will be the other 2 after that. And I'll probably do a watch along Friday night of a random horror movie, unless you guys want to send me suggestions, message me, or leave a post on the community tab with ideas for a movie for Friday. And Deborah Brock, the director of Slumber Party Massacre 2, my favorite in that trilogy, got back to me looking like late September or spooky season, October. We'll be having her on for an interview to talk all about Slumber Party Massacre 2. And funny enough, I did a quick one of The Monster Project, a favorite obscure, lesser known found footage movie of mine on TikTok last week. And I had the director on early on in the channel, probably the third interview I did. We're at over 40 now. And one of the actors in that movie found my review. And so I talked with him and he said he'd love to come on. So we got Jamal that'll be coming on sometime in the next week or so. I got to message him. He said he's down whenever. So we'll be talking about the Monster Project again with him, as that is such an underrated found footage movie. If you haven't seen it, check it out. That movie is so well paced. And you have three monsters, or people who claim to be real monsters, who these two friends are trying to get their social media platform off the ground. They're posting videos of fake creatures. So one of them comes up with the idea of putting out ads on Craigslist to get interviews with people who think they're actual monsters. And they get 3 responses. One from someone who thinks they're a skinwalker, from somebody who thinks that they're a vampire, a female vampire, and this girl who's possessed by a demon. And they rent this house out, the spooky ass house, on the night of an eclipse to interview these 3 people for their monster project. And it turns out that they are indeed what they claim to be. And from that moment on to the end of the film, it doesn't fucking stop. The pacing is great. It's a relentlessly fast-paced movie. So even if you don't like found footage, I plug this movie anytime that I can. So check out The Monster Project from 2017. Yes. If you get a chance, because we'll be having Jamal on, one of the actors, soon. But all right, guys. Thanks, Chris. As always, good seeing you, brother. And yeah, love Slumber Party Massacre too. Russell, great seeing you, man. Ginger, Emily. I'm not going to go through everyone's name because then I'll forget. Cal, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Love you all. And I will see you guys soon.